Okay, so we're in a conundrum and we need an answer on this by Friday. Today is Wednesday, so TikTok, we don't have much time. So we're gonna tell this dating story and we need help on what to do. So my beautiful mother, who is 75, she doesn't look it, is going on a second date with a guy, and he seemed like a really nice, like, stand-up guy. First date took her to a really nice restaurant. Okay, they're going on a second date, and this weekend on Saturday, and he was like, let's go to a Broadway show in the city and dinner. Like, what show do you want to see? And she hasn't seen Wicked yet.
I have not seen Wicked, so she
said Wicked. Yes. And he was like, okay, perfect. Let me see if I can get tickets on Saturday. So he texts her back and he's like, okay, I got tickets for 2 p.m. on Wicked on Saturday. We're going to go to Wicked. We're going to have a nice dinner. And then we're going to go to what hotel?
The Spectacular Magician at the Lottie Palace Hotel.
This Spectacular Magician at the Palace Hotel. So they're going to have a full day. And she was like, oh my God, I'm so excited. Sounds so fun. And then he was like, me too. Like, and I'm really excited to see you. Okay, that was it. And he's coming to pick her up, whatever. They have a plan. And then not, like a minute later, not even, literally, she gets a text from him. And the text is, I'm going to eat her heart out until that pussy is mine. Was that it?
And then her pussy
will be mine. And then she wrote to him back, I don't think this text was for me. And he was like, what did he say?
He said, nope. It was not meant for you, and it was not about you.
It was not meant for you, and it wasn't about you. And then he went ahead and deleted the comment and what he wrote, and the, like, it wasn't about you. And he just wrote mistake. And
I haven't heard anything since.
They haven't spoken since.
I haven't commented.
And we don't know if that's just like what guys do still at like 80.
Well,
if she should still go
in his 70s. Yes.
It doesn't matter. If she should still go on this date, or we're grossed out, and she definitely should not go on this date, plus in his car, and spend a whole day together. So we need help, and it's Wednesday. We need an answer by Friday. So help. Okay, this is part 2 of help. Should my mom go on this date? And I'm kind of surprised because a lot of guys, I mean, a lot of girls too, which I expected, but a lot of guys are like, total red flag. She should not go on this date. And like, I thought a lot of guys, like in consensus, would just be like, guys are guys. They're dumb. Like, they just never change. They're trying to be cool to their friends. So now, she's so cute. Now I'm really torn because that's what I was thinking. I was leaning towards she should just go on the date. Like, guys are just so stupid. He's like harmless. So now I'm still torn. I'll get my mom in here later, but she was like, if I do go, I'm going to bring it up. And I'm going to be like, who is that text for? And I was like, you can't do that. Either you go and don't say anything and act like it never happened, or you can't be like, well, who was that text for? Like, explain yourself. Like, no, I disagree with that if she goes. And now I'm really torn in general. Should she go on this date? So now I need everyone's help really more than ever, because it's my mom we're talking about here. So yeah, this is part 3 of help should my mom go on this date. And I just made one and deleted it by accident, so I'm kind of pissed. Here we are again. And also, I apologize for the darkness, but I'm watching Real Houses of Beverly Hills. I'm having a self-care day, and I really don't feel like going in the light or going to get my lights. So I apologize for the scenery in advance. A lot of people are not going to like what I have to say, but my mom did end up going on the date today, and I was with her this morning, and I will be with her tomorrow to give us a part 4 of how the date went. But let me give you some context. Me and my mom kind of made this decision together because obviously she is a big girl, but if she ever felt in danger, in harm's way, or uncomfortable, she would have not went on the date, and I would have not wanted her to go to the date if she felt any of those things. Number 2, the comments that are all like, absolutely not, run, major red flag, he is disgusting. How could you even ask that as a question? Do you not have standards for your mom? Does she not have standards? All of that, I 100% agree with. However, we also agree with, we kind of thought it was a little funny in the sense, like I said, she felt safe, But she's not dating this guy. She doesn't need to marry him. He's not the love of her life. She can go, if she feels safe, to the city, see Wicked, get a good meal. And my favorite comment was the one that said to do all of that. And then when you're saying goodbye, be like, tell your friend we had a great time and you're still like not getting any. She has standards. She's not going to give it up. She probably actually will confront him and be like, what was this about? You need to explain yourself. If she feels uncomfortable at any time, she will take an Uber home. I have her location. I already spoke to her. She's doing great. I forgot to include is that my dad is not here anymore. So my mother is my number one priority, my number one care in the world, and my best friend. So I care about her more than anyone. So just throwing that out there. We'll give you a part 4 and tell you all about the date tomorrow. But that is the situation. I just wanted to give an update. And she's doing okay. And she's safe. Part 4 of Help Should My Mom Still Go on This Date? And spoiler alert, if you watched part 3, you know that my mom ended up going on the date with the guy who mistakenly texted her, I'm going to eat her heart out, and then that pussy will be mine. So Robin, well, my mama, is going to tell us all about the date.
So I was picked up in his Bentley SUV. Fancy Delancey. And we drove into the city. By the way, his other car is Rolls-Royce Ghost, sorry. And we got into the city and no parking garage wanted to take his car because it was called an exotic. He finally smeared somebody and they took his car. We were in so early. He smeared someone. We went to a coffee shop, and that's when I said to him, what was that text all about? And he was prepared because he said, oh, it wasn't about you. It has to do with this woman who's like 35 years younger, whom I think he took to Vegas for 5 days. And she wants $4,000 a month from me, and she's been stalking me. And I now deleted her. And I was like, yeah.
She wants $4,000 a month for what?
What do you think?
She's giving him something in return.
He told me she's like a prostitute.
Okay.
So he went to the show, which was fabulous. It was wicked. And we had dinner, and we went to see this magician, Stephen Cohen, at the Lottie Palace. By the way, go see him if you haven't. He was amazing.
Also, he got you, sorry to interrupt, he got her an Celine Stephen Cohen like magician coffee table book. So she got a great book out of this. It's like a nice coffee table one.
And he autographed it. It was a fabulous show. So anyway, what I wanted to tell you is this man only talks about money, and he is uber rich. I mean, like
he tells her.
No, he is tens of millions of dollars rich, and can have anything and do anything he wants. But then why talk about it? He tells me his daughter has so many Birkins that he's bought for her, and in the car he had this. He brought this sparkling water, and he said, this water is the same water they drink at the White House, and I have an apartment in Florida. I sold it for $12 million, made so much money.
He tried to get her with you were drinking the water from the White House,
right?
That they drink.
Wow, I was so impressed. Not. In the end, I've decided that this is not the man of my dreams. And I do not want to pursue a long-term relationship with somebody who concerns himself and surrounds himself with only money and conversations about that. I need somebody deeper.
So you're still looking.
Special. I'm still looking. If any of you have anyone for this nice, lovely lady, or my lovely daughter,
or this lovely lady,
yes,
we're both single and looking. So
send them our way. Thank you so much. And we will keep updating you about our busy lives.
I'm a wedding photographer, and I have actually blocked a few of my brides. And here's one of the stories of one of the brides that I did block. I just at least want to give like a warning that this story is a little long, so if you don't want to sit through it, I got some shorter stories that will probably be better. So I get a DM from this bride who wants to book me for her wedding. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Like, let's do a consultation so that way we can get to know each other. Well, this bride wants to do an in-person consultation, and I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Like, let's set up a date, we can meet, and all that fun jazz. So the day comes to where we're going to meet. So she comes over to my house, but her mom and her fiance are with her as well. So we start doing the consultation. I'm asking her questions, just trying to get to know her, feel her out. But she's a pretty quiet girl. She's like not talking, not responding. But the mom pretty much just ends up talking for her the entire time. So the mom's asking me questions. The mom's like just saying everything about the wedding. And so pretty much there was like no conversation between me and the bride. It was just me and the mom. I thought it was a little weird, but it's whatever. We end up getting along super well. The bride proceeds to book with me. She pays her deposit so that way we can move forward. So we end up doing her complimentary session photos, and it ends up being pretty rough because the entire time of every single session that I have with this bride, the mom is breathing down my neck and barking orders at everybody. And this is where things kind of start to go downhill. So it's right before the wedding, and I reach out to my bride and I'm like, hey bride, like I need your timeline to see where we're at. So I get the timeline, I'm looking it over, and that's when I realize that the timeline ends up putting me in 2 spots at the exact same time for photos. So I reach out to the bride and I'm like, hey, like this isn't going to work. I recommend doing this because I can't be in 2 spots at the exact same time. And then she's like, oh, I'll talk it over with my mom. So the mom reaches out to me and she's like, yeah, we're not doing that. We're not changing the timeline. And she starts giving me some recommendations on how I should work with this. So her and I start going back and forth on what we can do. And it just became headbutting at that point. I'm like, whatever. Obviously, this is not going to go anywhere. So I end up hiring a second shooter out of my own pocket to resolve this issue. And that was a mistake. All right, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to make a part 2, and I'll tell you about what the venue did to this bride and the rest of the day that I had to endure. Part 2 of why I blocked my bride. So the wedding day comes and I go to the wedding venue pretty early in the morning so that way I can start doing detail shots and meet with my second shooter and the bride's videographer that she hired. So I start doing my thing, and then that's when the bride and the bridal party arrive. We go inside to start doing the indoor detail shots, and that's when we realized the venue owner was insane. There were cameras everywhere, and then I started noticing like notes being plastered like all over the venue of like, do not open, do not touch, do not lay stuff on, like stuff like that. I thought it was really weird, so I was like, hey, like, what's with this? And the bride was already pretty upset because she was like, oh yeah, the venue owner sits on the cameras and watches you, and if she doesn't like something that you do, she's going to text you. I'm like, okay, cool. She ends up telling me about the rehearsal dinner the night before and how bad it was because of the venue owner and what the venue owner did. I actually felt really bad for the bride because they paid well over $5,000 for the venue and property just to have this kind of stuff happen. So me and the second shooter go upstairs to start doing detail shots, and that's when I find out that every single room upstairs in the suite has been locked. Mind you, the bride paid for this. The only thing that was available was a half bath and a wide open room with a couch and a mirror. So I'm like, hey, like, where are the guys supposed to get ready? The bride lets me know that the guys actually have to get ready downstairs in the reception hall, and there is only one available bathroom, and it is a half bath. I'm kind of dumbfounded. I'm like, this is kind of insane. So me and the second shooter go outside and we start doing flat lay shots, and we're getting in our thing, and then that is when I hear screaming. I look up and it is the mom screaming her head off. Come to find out, the venue owner ended up renting out the property to the public that day for them to come and pick berries. And mind you, groups of people were coming onto the property for berry picking. Rightfully so, the mom has every right to be upset. So it's time to start doing portraits, and my second shooter helps me do family portraits while I do bridal portraits, and the videographer is just tagging along. During this time, we ended up getting yelled at by the mom to hurry up and do photos. Like, all 3 of us are kind of dumbfounded by the way we're being talked to, so we're just kind of like staring at each other like, what is going on? And the poor videographer looked like he wanted to cry. And my poor second shooter, I believe this was her first wedding, I had to keep apologizing to her because I'm like, I swear to God, this does not happen. I'm gonna have to make a part 3, and I will tell you what happened during the reception and after. Okay, so part 3 of everything else that happened. So after the ceremony, they want to start doing family photos. The bride seems pretty checked out. She doesn't really want to participate, and she just seems very overwhelmed by the day. And then she lets me know, hey, these family members, I don't want them anywhere near me because like XYZ. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I'll keep them away from you. Had no idea I had to play security that day. So these family members are the in-laws, and let me tell you, it was just something. The mother-in-law showed up in white, and it was a very casual wedding, so the sister-in-law ended up showing up in a full-blown prom dress. So the entire time the bride is trying to have a moment with her new husband and sign her wedding license, these family members keep trying to butt themselves into the photos and into her. And so I have to go over and be like, hey, I need you to leave. This is a private moment. So they're not very happy with me. I don't really care. Like, stop. So during family photos, we gather everybody together. We like, hey, we need you to stay. This is family photo time. The brother ends up not sticking around, so he ends up leaving. I'm like, hey, we don't have a photo of your brother. And the bride's like, whatever, I just want to go party. So she says it in front of me and my second shooter. So keep that in mind. I'm like, okay, if you're done, we can be done. So we go inside to the reception. Reception happens. It's a lot of fun. We're all partying and the night ends. Within 24 to 48 hours, I end up giving the bride a little over 100 photos of a sneak peek. So it's after the wedding and I start editing and I start sending her photos throughout this time. But the only thing is that I'm actually getting married right after her. So throughout the entire process of, talking to her, I'm like, hey, like I am getting married. I'm letting her know way in advance that I am getting married and things might be a little delayed because of my wedding as well. And she's totally fine with that. The thing is that right before my wedding, I ended up sending I think it was 200 photos. And then I make an announcement that, hey, I am going to take a break right now because it is a week before my wedding and I will be gone for 3 to 4 weeks, which will set me behind on editing and all of that because it is my time now. Also, I just want to throw in there that I actually was editing some of her photos and sending them to her during my honeymoon. So I get back and a few days later, I end up getting a text from her saying, I want my photos. And I'm like, hey, just letting you know that because of everything that's gone on, I have been a little delayed, but I will get you your photos by the end of the week. I didn't really like that response. And I understand wanting your photos, but you also did know that I was going to be getting married as well. So I finished her photos. There wasn't really a whole lot left, and I go ahead and send them to her. She ends up going oh my God, I love them. They're perfect, all this and all that, and just telling me how great it was to work with me and how much she loved them. Which, yes, she was a very sweet girl. Things were a little iffy in between, but this is where I ended up blocking her. So after all that, I then see her photos that she posts on Facebook. She ends up only posting my second shooter and only tagging my second shooter and then telling everybody about my second shooter. There was none of my photos and I was never tagged once. I completely understand liking my second shooter's editing a lot better, but after I did all of that for you and got her out of my own pocket, that was kind of rude. The whole situation was pretty much just an entire mess, so I was just pretty much done with everything. I'm a wedding photographer and I have blocked a few brides, and here's another story of another bride that I have blocked. This one is a little bit more messy. I was a newer wedding photographer at the time, so this whole thing I was not prepared for. I also had a second shooter with me, so just keep that in mind. I swear on everything, this does not happen every single time I have a second shooter, but I have a witness who can attest to this. So I get a backstory about the bridal party. Keep up because it kind of gets entangled. The bride is getting married to the ex-husband, and the ex-wife is the maid of honor. And the other bridesmaid was the ex-wife's daughter. And the other bridesmaid was the bride's daughter. Yeah, it's a little confusing. So me and my second shooter are doing our details inside, and that is when we hear screaming. And I'm not talking about yelling. I am talking about a full-blown screaming match. Apparently hair is flying and things are going bad. I am caught off guard, and my second shooter, my poor second shooter, I look at her and I'm like, we need to leave. We go outside because I don't want any part of that, and I definitely don't want my second shooter to be a part of that. While we're outside, we can literally hear screaming from the inside. Apparently they were punching each other and pulling each other's hair out. Well, then it goes silent, and so I look at my second shooter and I'm like, okay, I think it's safe to go back inside. We go inside and just pretend like nothing happened. So her and I are just kind of and just start doing flat lays. We don't even make eye contact with anybody. And that's when we make a discovery. The bride has fled. They cannot find the bride. So after some time, we get told that the bride has left. And we're just sitting there oh, okay. The time of the ceremony is supposed to happen, and yet we still do not have a bride. The bride ends up coming finally 2 hours later, so everything is delayed 2 hours. Well, when she does show up, she is also pretty drunk. So we're just kind of sitting there what do we do? The ceremony happens, the reception happens, everything is hunky-dory, and everybody's hugging. So I guess it turned out fine. But yeah, I blocked her.
I am a Brazilian waxer, and here are some of the craziest things that have happened to me at work. If you're my client and you're watching this, don't worry, babe, these aren't about you. I haven't kept these clients. First, I worked at a waxing studio, more corporate, and I had a lady who would moan every single time I pulled a strip. One time I was waxing someone and she had a hemorrhoid the size of a Roma tomato and asked me to wax it for her. No, babe, that is your inside organ on the outside. I'm not waxing that. had a lot of trouble with male clients in particular. One was a client who came in, everything was super normal, everything was natural. We were having a great conversation. He seemed super safe and friendly. And then at the end of his wax, he dripped down his leg, to put it nicely. The other guy that I actually had a problem with came in from another waxer who didn't want to wax him anymore. She referred him to me. If you're watching this, that was awful of you. He was very awkward and kept talking about his mom the whole time. And when we got to the backside, I had to stop the wax because he had feces caked on his cheeks. And at the beginning of his appointment, I gave him an entire pack of baby wipes to clean himself up. He did not use a single one, but somehow managed to rip open the package sideways, so I had to throw away the whole bag. One time I had a girl leave me a really horrible review because during her wax, she actually punched me multiple times, and I told her that if she didn't keep her hands to herself, that I would no longer continue her wax. And she left a review saying that I made her insecure about her body. Maybe just don't assault me. That's all for now. If you guys want more, I can make it a series. Comment down below. I am a Brazilian waxer, and here are some of the craziest things that have happened to me at work. Part 2. You guys remember Mr. Duty Cheeks from part 1? Yeah, the reason why the other waxer would no longer wax him, he brought her a margarita to his wax. Mind you, she was in a salon suite. It was just her. That's it. One room. And she's in there alone with him. And he brought her a margarita. He was like, oh no, we're not gonna start the wax until you start drinking. And she was like, oh, I don't drink alcohol. Thank you though. And kept refusing the margarita, and he kept insisting. And when he finally gave up, he poured it down the drain and walked out. Here's a story that I completely forgot about. We had a guy come in when I worked at a corporate waxing studio, and he wanted his full body waxed, scalp to toes. Mind you, I don't wax scalps. No one should wax a scalp, ever, ever. Well, we deny him because he was kind of creepy, and all of us just kind of got a bad vibe. Fast forward a couple months. He's in the news. He wanted no hair on his body so he couldn't leave DNA behind at the crime scene. There's so many things wrong with that. I used to have a client who would regularly come see me after her one-night stands. Mind you, no shower, didn't even pee, rolled out of bed, came straight to me. And she never had them wear protection. So yeah, please don't have sex before your appointment, and if you do, wear a condom. I have so many more. Comment down below if you want to hear them. I am a Brazilian waxer, and here are some of the craziest things that have happened to me at work. One time I was waxing one of my coworkers, and when I had her tuck her knees up to do her backside, she paused and said, "My boyfriend likes the smell of my butthole." This one's actually kind of common, but I have had to turn away people with active herpes infections or STDs in general. One time I had a girl come in and ask me if she could videotape her Brazilian wax for her boyfriend's pleasure. No, you can't. I had a male Brazilian client who I didn't see for about a year. And the last time he saw me, I had a blonde halo. I'll put a picture here. And he came back in, my hair's my natural color, and he looks at me and says, "Oh, you colored your hair. You must attract a different kind of clientele now." What does that mean? People ask me a lot if I've ever made someone cry, and the answer is yes. Very proud of it, actually. The only person I've ever made cry was the biggest sheriff deputy I've ever seen in my life. He worked at a prison, a very high security prison in Sterling, Colorado. It's for very high violent offense criminals, and he had the deepest voice I've ever heard in my life. You could barely understand what he was saying because his voice was so deep. And I waxed his back and made him cry. Follow along for more. I got a lot of comments like these, so let's address it. What you need to know going into your first Brazilian wax. First of all, you want to shower. A lot of people do this anyways, but you do want to shower. Having a hot shower is actually going to help soften the follicles so it hurts less, and it's just more hygienic. You are not going to get as many bumps and irritation after your wax if you shower beforehand. Before that shower, or in that shower, you're gonna wanna exfoliate. Exfoliate absolutely everything that you're getting waxed, and make sure that you're doing a really gentle scrub if it's an intimate area. This is going to lift any hairs that are trapped under your skin, get any dead skin off, and give you smoother results for your actual wax. Now, after you get out of the shower, make sure you're using some sort of body oil. This is also going to help soften the hair. If you notice a pattern here, we're trying to soften the hair, the skin, the follicle, so that it's easier and so much less painful for you. Now, about half an hour before your wax, my personal preference, I'm not a doctor, this is not medical advice, is to pop some ibuprofen or Advil. I think it definitely helps the pain tolerance of a lot of my clients during their waxes. Now, when you get to the wax salon, you go in, you check in, whatever. I promise you there is going to be a lot of discretion. We're not walking out saying, hey, Susan, for your Brazilian. We do like to keep it discreet and private for our client's safety. Usually your waxer will introduce themselves and take you back into a private room. And in that room, your waxer will either have you undress in front of them, which is what I do. I turn my back and set up for the wax while my clients are getting undressed and up onto my table. Some places like to step out while you get up on the table. I personally find that that's unnecessary. Most of my clients are like, you're getting up in there anyways, might as well just stay in the room for 2 seconds while I take my pants off. There's absolutely nothing to be shy about. I promise you, if you're seeing a waxer, she's doing 20 of these a day. She's not gonna look at your actual genitalia. She's just looking at your hair growth pattern. If you are a male and you're getting your first Brazilian wax, they will typically step out during the time that you're getting undressed and also give you a privacy towel. I use this to help protect myself and my clients, but it is a protective barrier between me and any bodily fluids. So you're in the treatment room and it's all intimidating, but you're gonna get undressed from the waist down. I suggest not wearing any rompers because you will have to be there completely naked. Anything that's like a one piece that has pants. If you're wearing a dress, that's great because you can literally just like lift your dress up. A lot of people love that. Okay, so you're on the table, we're bare, we're exposed. It's okay, I promise you, it will be like nothing. Just chat with your waxer, I promise you, it will take all of your nerves away. We're pretty cool typically. We're gonna start by cleaning off your skin and making sure that we're adding some sort of protective barrier. That could be oil or baby powder. Depends on your waxer, also depends on the time of year and climate. Then typically we start on the wax. A lot of different waxers use different methods. My personal method is a mixed method between hard and soft wax. I only use hard wax on areas that the skin is thin. If your waxer is not doing this, you have a higher risk of skin lifts, AKA skin tearing during waxing. Typically, I work from the bikini line out on one side, and then we're working all the way into the middle section. So we're working from this outer side of the bikini line up into the middle. And then typically I go down the labia and then flip and do it on the opposite side. So that is how I typically do my Brazilians. And that's typically a good pattern. Sometimes people do it in different ways. It's genuinely just waxer opinion and like waxer preference. Same thing goes for the backside. On the backside, I have my clients tuck their knees up to their chest. What that means is you're giving your knees a hug. You are fully tucked like this on your back, but you don't want your knees to touch. You're laying down on your back. Some people will have you do elbows and knees. Some people will have you do a side lay and hold your cheek up. There's plenty of ways to do it. There's plenty of accommodations for pregnant people, plus size bodies. It doesn't matter. Everyone can do a Brazilian wax, and everyone should be getting a fantastic service, no matter your body size. After I do the backside, we are typically done with the full Brazilian wax. I always give my clients something to clean up themselves. This gives clients the opportunity to actually feel where they feel sticky, where they might need some oil, whatever they need to do to feel comfortable. This is where I step out of the room. I give my clients oil, witch hazel. I actually sometimes have found that a hypochlorous acid is the best thing after a wax. So something to help the skin and something to get any wax residue off of you. After that, your esthetician should walk you through any aftercare that they recommend. Usually what I recommend is exfoliation and moisturizing, same thing you did before the wax. And that's really all. It's really not that painful. Every movie you've ever seen it in, any YouTube video, they're exaggerating, they're doing it for the views. I promise you, it's not that bad. I've had so many things done that are 1,000 times worse. Tattoos are 1,000 times worse. Piercings are 1,000 times worse. Getting a wax is really not that bad. If you are worried about pain but want to try something that feels a little bit similar, I recommend people get their underarms waxed. That kind of gives you a good idea of what the pain would feel like. It's very comparable. If you have any questions, leave them down below and follow along for more waxing content.
My first heartbreak is when I was in the 8th grade. I'm gonna call him Daniel. I don't know. So I had this really big crush on Daniel, and I don't remember how we became friends. I think it's because we had a mutual friend and we ended up having science class together. And so I was like, he's the only person I know in this class. Like, I'm gonna go and sit by him. He was cute. He was like a little dorky, nerdy. I thought that he was adorable. He and I are lab partners, so we're doing all of our projects together in class, and we are just talking all the time. I get his phone number and we start texting, and it's like very innocent stuff, like us sending memes. Like, we're 13. Remember, we had a dance in middle school and he dressed up as Doc from Back to the Future, and I thought it was like the cutest, funniest thing ever, and I was like, oh my god, I have the fattest crush on this kid. But as the old story goes, he did not have a crush on me. He did not like me. In fact, he liked this other girl who was so extremely annoying. And I mean, like, she would flop on the floor and starfish in the middle of the hallway. I'm gonna name her Katrina. So Daniel would always talk to me about how much he loved Katrina and that he wanted to be with Katrina so bad that Katrina actually liked one of Daniel's friends. So I would hear all the time about how Katrina was hanging out with Daniel's friend and how he was so sad about it. And we're 13, but like, it shattered my whole world. And one day something crazy happens and Katrina is no longer dating Daniel's friend. Instead, I find out that Katrina is now dating Daniel, the guy that I like. Okay, the guy that I've been listening to. I've been listening to him talk about how much he loves Katrina for so long. So I should be happy for him, but I am just heartbroken. I would go home after school and cry my eyes out in my mattress. I would cry. I was so upset. I remember I had to go to school and she's like wearing his jacket and they're like holding hands. I was pissed. And then somehow Daniel finds out that I have a crush on somebody and he's like, how could you not tell me that you have a crush on somebody? Like, why would you not tell me? And I start panicking. I'm like, oh my God, I can't tell him. And this is over text. So he's texting me. He's like, please, like, you have to tell me. I've been talking to you about Katrina and now like we're finally together. Like, you have to tell me. And I'm like, no, like, I can't tell you. Like, I really don't want to. And then he says, oh my God, oh, I know who it is. And he's like, it's me, isn't it? And I started to panic. I was like, no, 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 it's not. And he was like, oh my stars. oh my stars. Ew, I'm getting cringed out. Why did I like this guy? Like, we were 13, but he's like, oh my stars, you like me? Oh my stars. I just remember I was like crying. So I was like, now I can't even be friends with him because he's gonna think it's so weird. And yeah, we like didn't really talk as much after that because he found out that I liked him, and yeah, it was weird. And Katrina ended up breaking his heart. So Katrina's a little hoe ass. I don't know.
I was 21, I went on a plane to America by myself and I sat next to a relatively attractive guy. We were kind of non-stop chatting for the first 2 hours of this flight and then fell asleep because it's like a long 14-hour flight, and then we exchanged Instagrams when we landed. I went on my holiday, he went on his holiday. We kind of replied to some Instagram stories here and there, and then when I got back, he asked me on a date. I didn't really realize the red flags, but looking back, there are some red flags that I should have noticed from the start. When we started texting to organize this date, he kind of asked me how old I was and I said I was 21, and he said he was 31. It wasn't the age gap that's the red flag, it was the fact that when we were texting, I was thinking, this guy's kind of immature. For example, to make this plan, he was suggesting like, do you want to make like a treehouse fort, or do you want to go to Kmart and like steal things and run out the store? I don't know, I'll try and find these text messages. I was thinking that everything he was saying was a bit weird, but I was also just like young, so I just thought, whatever, I don't really care so much about this, I'll still go on the date regardless and do whatever. Anyways, flash forward like a week, it's the night of the date, I get ready, he comes and picks me up in his car with his dog that he brought from the Gold Coast, and we were gonna go out for dinner. When we were on our way to dinner, he said to me, would you like to play a fun game with me? And I just thought, okay, cool, what is it? And so he pulls in at Kmart, we get out and we're standing like at the front of Kmart. He tells me that the rules of the game is that we've got 10 minutes on the clock and we need to find one item for each other that was only $20 in value that we think that this person might like. I'm literally 21 years old running around Kmart trying to buy some random 31-year-old man a present. I didn't really know what to get him, so I'm pretty sure I just got him something for his car, and then he got me a whiteboard. And so because I got the whiteboard, I kind of went around and I got a few other things that I needed from Kmart, like some bits and bobs while I was there. The stuff from Kmart in the boot of his car, and then we go out for Japanese in Rosalie area of Brisbane. Ended up having like 2 bottles of rosé, and I was honestly so smashed. A park across the road at Rosalie, and it's kind of like a big concrete jungle park. I'll try and find some photos of it. By the way, just to remind you guys, the whole time his dog is with us. This is the part where it gets a little bit more rogue. So after our dinner and drinks, he basically points at the park and goes, we should go over there and like run around with the dog or whatever. And I was like, cool, yeah, I'll do whatever. And so we go to this park and we're kind of like climbing all over the gymnasium and like sliding down the slides, things like that. He kind of climbs up to this top sort of slide, and it's one of those slides that kind of spin around a few times, and we're quite up high, and he puts his jacket down on the slide and says, get on. So I, just like naive 21-year-old girl, get on this man's, wait, I'll show you. Poof, the poof is him. So I'm like this wrapped around him from the back. He basically just pushes himself, rocket launches himself down the slide. Because I am behind him, my legs are straight and we're going down a curved slide. Basically around the first sort of turn, I slam my ankle into the inside of the slide. I get lost at that point in the slide and he goes down, and then I slowly come down and I'm just yelling, fucking can't, like my ankle hurts so bad. Guys, I am literally laying in the bark at the park, like drunk and 21 years old, just like screaming, crying in so much pain. And this man thinks that that's a really good time to try and like get in, and he lays down next to me and tries to put his hand on me, and I was like, get off me, like so angry. Then made him butt hurt, and then he goes, fine, I'll just drop you home then. So I'm like limping to the car and he's trying to help me, but it's just really awkward because he's obviously wanting to get in and I'm not giving him anything because my ankle was in so much pain. Put in a photo next, but if you're like a bit squirmish and don't like bruising, then maybe just quit it.
I'm just thinking with my dick.
Him and his dog drive me back. I was actually house sitting at that time, and they just basically dropped me off. Dropped me off with my broken ankle. Honestly, guys, while I'm literally dying there of that sprained ankle, he just drives away with my Kmart in the boot of his car. So I lost my Kmart. I couldn't walk for weeks and I had a really bad sprained ankle, and we never spoke again. I don't know when he unfollowed me, but I unfollowed him like a year or 2 later and he had already unfollowed. Moral of the story is sometimes cute people you meet at the airport might not be the one for you.
Story time how I got caught sneaking out for the first time because of my cat. So my dad pulls up on us, he calls the cops, and he loses my window out for 2 weeks. And I got banned from hanging out with my friend.
So it all starts off where like my friend came over and she was like, hey, like, can I sleep over? I'm like, yeah, for sure. So she's like asking her parents for like 30 minutes and they were like kind of strict too. So she's convincing them for 30 minutes and they finally say yes. But then they say like, okay, you can sleep over, but we're not gonna pick you up. And they're like, did you ask Christina's dad? And we lie and we say yeah, because I was so confident he was gonna say yes. So I go upstairs to ask my dad, and so he was like really mad that day. I don't know why, but he starts crashing out on me. He's like, he takes my phone, he takes my laptop. He's like, you should have asked me a day before. Like, why do you think you're so grown and shit acting like this? She better be gone in 5 minutes. And I go downstairs and I tell my friend what he told me. And I'm like, hey, like, you can't stay here. And she's like, well, I can't go home either. So she came up with this, like, amazing idea. She's like, what if you drop me off at the park and I stay there until your dad falls asleep? And then when your dad falls asleep, like, you sneak me in. And then before your dad wakes up, like, I leave early in the morning so nobody's gonna know anything. I'm like, that's amazing, because I also told my dad that you, like, live right next to the park. Mind you, the park is 30 seconds away from my house, like, literally by walking. You can see it from my window. It's literally across the street. It's really close. So I thought to my dad that I was gonna drop her off, but apparently I didn't, or, like, he didn't hear. So I leave for literally not even 5 minutes. And as I'm leaving the park, I see a familiar car pull up. I see a Tesla pull up. I'm like, this better not be my fucking dad. Of course it was. And he walks out that car. He's like, let's go to the cops. Who do you think you are, going out there without your phone and not telling me? Like, you think you're all grown and shit? And I'm like, bro, what? So we go up to the cops and I tell them like the full story, and he just sounds insane. So they're on my side. He gets even more mad at me for that. And I'm like, what? You came up to the cops on me. Anyway, so we finally go home. So he finally falls asleep and I sneak my friend in through the window. And we're just chilling for like about a few hours, and I'm like, fuck, like, let's sneak out. Like, I feel like we're gonna wake up my dad, and I'm just getting really paranoid. She's like, okay, and we're so stupid, we go to the same park. So we're chilling at the park, and she's like, I'm getting kind of bored, like, let me call this guy, right? And he was about 4 years older than us, and he bikes 20 minutes just to get some play. Spoiler alert, he didn't get any. Anyways, now it's 4 a.m., and they're just doing their thing, and I'm just third wheeling. And then this is where things go wrong. So in the beginning of the park, next to the bathrooms, there's like an outlet and like a plug where you can charge your phone. And my friend goes there to charge her phone, and then not even 2 seconds later, she runs back to me, basically screaming. She runs back to me screaming, oh my god, Christina, I just saw your fucking dad. When I tell you my hair dropped to my fucking ass, like, holy shit. So, mind you, the guy's still there, and now all three of us are hiding under the slide. All three of us. And it's like a fucking horror movie. Like, I can hear my dad getting closer, and I can hear him screaming my name. So I kind of realized I have no choice but to come out. So I come out, and the first thing he says, he's like, is it fun being at the park at 4 a.m? I'm like, yeah. And then obviously he's not stupid, so he checks where he came out from, and he sees my friend and the guy. And he's like, whose man is this? Whose man is this? I'm like, not mine. And then he says something to the guy. I forgot what he said, but he dipped so quick. I mean, low-key, it was a successful sleepover because she ended up sleeping over at, like, my house for, like, 2 hours. But he low-key wasn't even mad at me. He was, like, low-key more mad at her. And then in the morning, he texted her mom. I don't know how he got her number, bro, but she got parent control on her phone for 2 months. And then I got my window glued down for 2 weeks.
Last night, the scariest thing that's probably ever happened to me in my life happened. All started, I needed to go to the mall to exchange something. Where I had to make the exchange was Dillard's, and I brought my friend with me. It's weird because earlier that day I was like, I really don't want to go alone. I was talking to my boyfriend about it, and he was like, why don't you have a friend go with you? So I asked her to come. First got there, it was light out. And so I parked, we went inside, and we did the exchange, and then we were kind of hungry, so we decided to go to the food court. When we were in the food court, we went to 2 different places. We went to Chick-fil-A and to, like, Charlie's, which were, like, kind of apart from each other. And when we first walked in the food court, there was a man who was sitting at the table. We were at the Chick-fil-A, and he was, like, staring at us to the point where we both noticed, and he was just, like, it was just, like, eye contact, and, like, I don't know, sometimes I feel like you just have intuition with these things, and we both kind of looked at each other and could feel that he was looking at us. So we were like, maybe we're overthinking it. And then we went to the other place to get the lemonades we wanted from Charlie's. He moved tables from one in front of the Chick-fil-A to the other one in front of Charlie's, and again was still staring at us. So at this point I was like pretty freaked out by this, and so was my friend. So we basically got our lemonades and we're like, let's get out of here. We were walking super fast, And we get back to Dillard's and I was just like, get me into my car, like I want to get out of here. Our hands were like super full. At this point it's pitch black outside and there were barely any lights at where I parked in front of Dillard's. And also my car was basically the only car out there. And like I said, it's nighttime at this point. So I open my car door. My friend's going to get in the passenger side. And right as I open my car door, my friend has a pure look of terror on her face and she screams and she's like, ah, Sophie, there's someone in your car. So I slam my door. We both sprint back inside and our like immediate reaction was kind of like to hide. Like, what if he comes like after us, I guess? Like, I don't know. Like, it's hard to explain what goes through your brain in that moment of like pure panic. So we both were like basically hiding in the fitting rooms, not like legit hiding, but kind of like standing like right at the front to see if like anyone would come in behind us, because we knew we were like essentially the only people in that parking lot that would have came in through that entrance. So I immediately called 911. I told them that someone was in the passenger seat of my car. They said they were sending cops on their way, and the workers of Dillard's, God bless them, they were so sweet and so kind and so helpful, and they could tell something was wrong. So they kind of came over. I explained the situation. They got a mall police officer to come down, and we told the mall police officer that we thought someone was in our car. But then at this point, me and my friend were like second guessing ourselves, and we were like, was there really someone? Was it just a reflection? Like, we were both already so high strung and like anticipating something bad. Like, were we imagining it? Like, I don't know, because it all just happened so fast. And like I said, it was pitch black outside. So the cop's like, I'll go look outside. We stayed pretty much like towards this fitting room corner, and I couldn't see outside. Then the cop called like the ladies that we were with at the side of the store, and he was like, can you have them come out here, please? So I was like, okay, maybe we were just imagining it. Like, why would he tell us to come out there? I walked out there and I was scared to like go all the way to my car, but my car was close to the door of the front of Dillard. I was standing by the doors and I said to the cop, I was like, hello, and he was like, hi, like, can you come over here? And I was like, is there anyone in there? And he was like, oh yeah, he's right in here. I need you to unlock your car. Like, okay, I'm gonna unlock my car from here. Is it okay if I go back inside after? Because honestly, at this moment, like, I was shaking. I was so nervous. Like, it was seriously terrifying. So I unlocked my car, immediately went back inside, and me and my friend were both just like in panic mode at this point. But we're obviously so happy that the cop was there. Then about like 20 more minutes went by and they called the front again, having us come out. And by that point, five cops outside. They basically told us that they had like put him in cuffs and he seemed to be like out of it mentally, like he had taken something. But yeah, I basically just wanted to post this video just to spread awareness. Like, make sure you're looking inside of your cars and windows. Like, this happened last night and even today. Checking my windows, I'm checking my trunk, like every part of my car before getting in it, because it honestly could have been so much worse. And also, I would just say trust your intuition. Like, so many different things led me to that and led it to be a less worse situation than it actually could have been. Sorry, it's literally like, it's still like scary for me to talk about, even though I'm just sitting here talking to my phone. But I mean, I had a bad feeling about going alone. I had my friend come with me, which she's the one who saw him at first because he was in the passenger side. My door was already open. I didn't see him at all. I think we were so high strung in the food court, and I don't know if maybe that man was like sent here for some like greater reason that I'll never understand, to like warn us and get us to be on high alert. I'll never truly know, or maybe it was just a random coincidence. But I would just like seriously trust your intuition and be so cautious, because scary things happen and you never think they'll happen to you, but then they do. So yeah.
Some people will tell you that I am kind, loyal, and an amazing friend. Some people will tell you that I am a stone cold bitch. Believe them both. They earned whatever version of me they got.
So I never thought I would tell anybody this. And it was to protect my mom. And I don't know why I wanted to protect her so bad. I guess I wasn't scared of her doing anything to me, because what could she possibly do? I was scared of letting people know about the real her, and it ruining her life because I didn't want to hurt her. I don't want, like, the person that gave birth to me, like, I don't want to hurt her or whatever. And I understand, like, why a lot of the things happened that happened. My mom had a horrible upbringing, and it's not my place to talk about it, really. But she got pregnant with my older sister when she was 17. And then she got pregnant with me when she was like 19. And then 2 years later, my other sister. And then a few years later, my other sister. And a few years later, my brother. So she has 5 kids and 5 different baby daddies. And it would have been more if she didn't miscarry. She didn't have money for us. She didn't work. She never did. And I'm not trying to hate on her because I loved her so much. I love her so much. You know, she's my mom. And I'm not a perfect person either. But we lived on low income our entire lives and off of food stamps and everything. And we were kind of isolated. She didn't have really, like, any other family. It was just my grandma, who died a couple weeks before my son was born. So a couple years ago. And she wasn't, like, the best either. She wasn't, she was not great. She was not great. And so it was just us. My 4 siblings and I, and my mom. That was our life. Food stamps and low income and never, like, really having a stable life. No fathers. 5 dads. None of them were there. Like, men in and out of my life and stuff. And of course she didn't know how to, like, regulate her emotions and stuff because she never got taught how to. I'm not trying to give her an excuse, though, because she could have tried. She could have tried. She could have tried. She can try, you know. And anyway, by the time I turned 17, I wanted out of that hellhole so bad. So I applied to, like, 5 colleges and I got accepted into all of them. I graduated a year early, so I graduated when I was 17, and I was so proud of myself because I was the first one in my family to, like, get my diploma. You know, not like a GED years later or something like that. I got my diploma. I graduated fully with over 25 credits as a junior, and I decided to leave and go to a college an hour and a half north of where we live. And like a week before I even left to go to college, my room was transformed into my younger sister's room. At that point I was homeless. I didn't have a car. Nobody ever taught me how to drive. I took the driving class when I was like 15. And one of my friends' grandmas drove us to the class because my mom couldn't, of course. And my mom promised me that for my 16th birthday, she would pay for the class because you can take the class and then not pay for it unless you start the behind the wheels. So I did all the classes and everything. And then with my little bit of money, I took my temps at the DMV, whatever the fuck, and I got my temps, and she never taught me how to drive, and she never paid for the class, so I never learned how to drive. And of course, growing up, I've struggled with, like, really bad mental health because how could I not, you know? Not only was it genetic, it was, like, my life sucked. And I hate saying that because my mom, like, did buy us, like, a lot of toys, you know, and we did a lot of fun stuff, I'm pretty sure. And I feel like, you know, she did love me, but not properly. And so I hate talking bad about her. I swear I had never talked bad about her until, like, I was a teenager and I started to, like, become more, like, conscious and stuff. Like, I felt this insane shame and guilt. I don't know. Anyway, my point is I left to go to college, and my first semester of college, I was living in a dorm, and I was doing pretty good. I got, like, all A's in my classes, and then a few weeks before the semester finals, I dropped out of college because I was depressed. Okay? I was depressed. And my roommate, she was like my best friend that I had made there, and she was like in all my classes. She dropped out, so I was alone, and I got depressed, and I had to like walk to get food and everything. And I was like remembering about how the winter break is like a month long, and then summer break, and all this, and how you can't stay in the dorms. And I was so scared because I wasn't gonna have anywhere to go. Keep in mind, my mom wasn't even like, she wouldn't drive me anywhere, so she didn't even drive me to the college. She wasn't gonna come and get me. I had nobody. Nobody to drive me home or anything. Nowhere to go. I'm homeless at this point, you know? And I drop out, and I come back to my mom's house, and of course she like lets me in or whatever. I'm still 17 at this point, but I'm practically homeless. I don't have a fucking room. I don't have shit. And I'm like I've worked so many jobs. Like I've worked like 20 jobs. I've been trying so hard for so long. And all these jobs that I've had have been like crazy, like pedophiles, and you know how these little jobs are. They suck. They're horrible. With my already bad mental health and not having a car and the job sucking, I wasn't doing like the best. But anyway, she would always like be like, well, when you're 18, you're getting out of my house, blah, 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 whatever. And, I mean, it was always like that. I don't even know. I don't even know how to tell this whole story in less than 10 minutes. I don't know. My life has just been chaotic since then. You know, becoming homeless at 17. And I just feel like I wasted and ruined so much of my life. I eventually turned 18 a few months later. And I got this cat off of Craigslist. I named him Duncan. And I had a job working at a pick and save. And I was doing okay. I was taking the bus, whatever. My mom didn't want that cat in the house, but she eventually started to love him. And because I was so motivated to be able to keep this cat, because I knew eventually she would make me, like, get rid of the cat like she always did, like, I got my own apartment. I got a studio apartment that I paid for by myself. And then I brought my cat, registered him as an emotional support animal. And I was living in this apartment for about a year and a half, and it was going fine, but like I'd never fixed the root issues, you know, like I never fixed my mental health, you know, all this, like, what was I gonna do? I was just gonna keep working at Pick and Save for $12 an hour, taking the bus, paying bills, and like being so depressed. I was so scared that I was eventually gonna lose my job, you know, or like that I couldn't do it anymore. Soon I turned 19 and I met my son's dad, and we eventually like fell in love or whatever. I moved in to his apartment and out of my apartment. First mistake there. Well, I brought my cat, and eventually, like 9 months later, I got pregnant. The relationship wasn't even like good. It wasn't good. And I don't know. The second I found out I was pregnant, I started doing everything. I had TMS. I was going to therapy every week, but nothing was going to fix like the problem. At this point, I had just quit my job because of my mental health, and also because something else happened, and I just found out I was pregnant, and I was getting really sick. And then my grandma died, and then 2 weeks later I had my son, and then 3 months later I found out that my son's dad was cheating on me, and then I became homeless again. And the second I became homeless again, I found out that my mom was dating a 17-year-old, and he abused me, and he abused everybody in the house, and he abused my son. He said he was going to kill him. I don't know. I can't fit this all in 10 minutes. So if you guys want to hear more, I'll put up a part 2, but I've just been having a lot of issues.
My parents think my sister's the responsible one, but look who's walking into a bank on a Friday morning to get a new debit card. Couldn't be me.
Okay, I've calmed down a little, but I was just an emotional wreck. Like, on the way back home from work, I was just, like, I don't know. I was going through it. I was like crying so hard driving home. Like I almost died probably. Not really. I didn't almost get in a car crash, but it's just been a lot ever since blocking my mom like 20 days ago. Like a lot of things have been coming up. Like flashbacks, and it just really hurts. I don't know why they're all coming up right now, but to like get back on track to what I was talking about in part 1, yeah, so while my son was 3 months old, I found out that his dad was cheating, and I pretty much became homeless. I didn't really have a choice at that point, even though I was on the lease. I don't know, abusers be like that. And I went back to my mom's house. She wouldn't give me keys. I didn't have a bed. I didn't have anything. She screamed at me. It was the worst. Like, I thought I got, like, abused when I was a kid. Like, this was worse than anything, because I was conscious at this point. Like, I could hear what she was saying. I knew what she was saying. Like, I was thinking about how, like, this is my mom, and she's, you know, hurting me. You know, it hurt on another level, especially after my grandma just died. I almost died giving birth. That's a whole nother story. And then found out, like, the one person that I trusted, the only one person, because I don't even have fucking friends, like, the one person that I trusted could have sworn my life on that he wouldn't cheat on me. You know, he cheated on me, and he became a different person, and he just snapped, and ever since that day, he, like, tried ruining my life and abused me, and now he controls me through a court schedule. But anyway, back to the part where I found out my mom was dating a 17-year-old. Like, literally that day, I found out that he was cheating in a laundromat, and I, like, go into the laundromat, and I'm, like, screaming Bloody Mary, crying my eyes out, and she answers the phone, and I hear, like, this little kid in background, and it's him, and then I think, like, when she came and picked me up, he was with her. That's when I, like, kind of found out. And, like, I really found out, like, a few days later when they're fucking making out in my face and shit, and the dude just turned 17, like, 3 months prior. And I did everything. I called CPS. I called the cops. Blah, 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 blah. He abused me. Like, he literally put knives in my laundry bags. Not that I even got to do laundry, because I didn't even have a car at this point. Yeah, he tried killing me. He punched me in the face 3 times. And when I called the cops, and my siblings, like, said, yeah, this did happen. Whatever. My mom was like, no, it didn't happen. Even though it was, like, literally a mark. And, like, my cheek was bleeding inside. Yeah, that shit hurts. And I know I sound, like, kind of emotionless right now, but I've let all my emotion out, and at this point, I'm just angry. Like, I mean, this is, like, a deal breaker, you know what I mean? Like, it's been so bad. It's been so bad. I wish I could tell, like, everybody everything. I wish I could tell my whole story, but I don't know. Little by little, I guess I will, but finding out your mom is dating a 17-year-old, it has to be, like, one of the worst things. One of the worst things, like, that can happen. You know, it's like, it's over, bro. Like, it's like she's dead. She's dead. He stayed in the house with us from August 2023 to March 2024. And those were the worst months of my entire life. I would call my son's dad, like, crying so hard, like, hurting so bad, and he was just, like, so disgusting and emotionless, like, I don't care, you're not my problem anymore, you know, like, whole time, me and your son are, like, going through this shit, and you knew about it, if you're watching it and stalking my page, you knew about it. You know about it. And I called you that night when you punched me in the face, even though I was scared to tell you because I knew you would use this stuff against me. And you didn't do anything about it. Anyway, I was homeless for like a year and a half. And it feels like I just missed like my son's whole baby stage because I was just trying to survive. And I was still a really good mom. He always had everything. He had clothes, he had food, we went to fun places. I would put white noise on so that he didn't have to hear anything when we were sleeping, and a fan. I would hold him every night and I sang to him and we did affirmations. I did everything that I could. And I'm proud of myself. And I never thought I would get out of that situation. But eventually I started working at McDonald's, and my son, dad, and I had a coordinated schedule and stuff. So I went to work and I worked when my son was with his dad. And he's only with his dad like 2.5 days out of the week. I have him 5 nights out of the week. And I eventually was like growing my way up the ladder at McDonald's, trying to make money, you know. And I started losing weight. I lost over 100 pounds. And eventually I met someone who said they would teach me how to drive. But I had started talking to this guy a few months prior to this. And eventually he's the one who ended up teaching me how to drive. And we started dating and everything. So I started learning how to drive like in the winter. And then this is 2026 right now. So this past year, so 2025, July 2025, I got my license. And my older sister, who's 25, and my younger sister, who's 22 right now, they don't have their license and they don't have a car. And I'm not trying to hate on anybody, but I'm so proud of myself. Like, I did it, bro. I did it. And I have a brand new car, and eventually got myself out of McDonald's. My son and I eventually moved in with my boyfriend, and I started college last August. And I've still been struggling, you know? Still going through some stuff, but I did it. And every day that I feel like I'm like such a failure because like I'm fat or whatever, like, no, I did it. I did this shit. I broke the cycle for my son, for my son's future, for my future, you know, like, please don't like let it continue, you know, eventually one day down the line. But I broke the cycle. I know I did it, and I'm so proud of myself. I saved up a lot of money, and now in 9 weeks, I'll be done with my first year of college with a 4.0 GPA. I'm not an honor student. I'm a president honor student, and it might seem like stupid to somebody, but it's not stupid to me. And although it's been hard juggling everything, I've been making it work. And the only like downside is that like I've gained 30 something pounds. So I've kind of put my physical health on the back burner. So that sucks. But like everything else is like, you know, it sucks. Like I don't want to work. I don't want to go to school, whatever. But it's working out. My son turns 3 in May. So he's not even 3. So by the time he turns 3 and a few weeks old, like 3 years plus a few weeks, I'll have finished my first year of college. I'll have been driving for 10 months. You know, we're not homeless. He has his own room and everything now. And again, things are not perfect, but I know I can make it now. I know I can make it. And through all of this, I've continued to be kind. And I don't know how, honestly, like, people have been so horrible, and I've continued to be kind. And I guess at this point, this went from like me being emotional because like of my mom's abuse to now I'm proud of myself. I am so proud of myself. And I want everybody to hear my story because I never hear anybody talk about like anything like this. Yeah, I've heard about like somebody being homeless or, you know, poor or, you know, maybe a few of the factors, but I've had so many things. No car, like